Ladies and gentlemen, if elections were called today, who do you think would carry the day between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Samoei Ruto? Considering the events that have taken place since August 2022. If you think William Ruto would win, there is someone who begs to differ with you. Okuru Okot is saying that William Ruto has broken history, he has made history, and one of the other things that is going to make history on is that he is going to be a one-term president. And Okuru says that he's really working hard towards it. It's a very interesting tweet. Okuru is saying, with the unfolding events in our country today, I think President William Samoei Ruto has made history. Number one, he is the longest serving political figure than even Odinga and former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And then he adds, value yet to be seen. Yani, the value for the period that William Ruto has been a politician. Remember, William Ruto started in 1997 as the member of Eldoret North constituency. Number two, he says, he has held powerful dockets. Number two, he says, the man rose from a chicken seller to presidency. Number three, he has held powerful dockets in 3 regimes, Moi, Kibaki, and Kenyatta. Number four, he defeated, quotes in quotes, the fake Kenyan dynasties. I know most of us Azimio members will not like that. And number five, he borrowed in a record time 1.2 trillion Kenyan shillings in 8 months. And lastly, and most importantly, he is working very hard with his style of leadership to be a one-term president. I don't know what you think, but Okuru Okot is lining up just how William Ruto has made history. And he says that among the other things, he will make history as a one-term president. There's another tweet that I saw a few minutes later. He said that I should have added that he is the first president who within less than 1 year has gone back to the streets and campaigning. But let's face it, 2027 is beckoning and it's soon going to be with us. William Samoei Ruto will require a miracle to win a second term. And many a times, a regime that is going for a second term presidency finds it very difficult. Whether you pick from an MCA, a member of parliament, a senator, or a governor, those who are now wielding powers within these positions will find it very difficult to convince their constituents. In fact, if you are running for the first time, it is easier for you. The only hurdle that you face is proving to the people that you understand their needs. But for someone who has been at the helm of their affairs, like William Ruto, you don't need to go. When come 2027, you will not need to go there and start telling people, this is what I want to do. Your scorecard will speak louder. Because the only saving grace could be, you have done a few things, and then you're telling them, in my first term, I did the following, so I'm requesting for a second term to complete and accomplish whatever I started. But I've seen Ruto since the last election. The guy is a perennial liar, a very cunning president. In fact, if you watch his moves, he has now graduated from lying to the hustlers. He's now lying to the African Union. When you listen to people, to William Ruto talking to the African presidents, all of them will give him a standing ovation and they will be applauding. This man understands Kenyan politics because he knows that Kenyans are easily gullible. In the wake of hunger and the high cost of living, I saw him today with some crowd there just campaigning and justifying why he needs this, there is this high taxes, and people still listen to him. And I looked at the crowd and I was just like, really? They can still afford to listen to more lies. And what are some of the reasons why you think William Ruto might not get a second term? Number one is this one of lying. He lied to them then, he's still lying to them today. But I like the fact that certain people in certain quarters have realized that William Ruto is a liar. Whatever he promised them is not coming to fruition. There's no fruit. And now he has gone back to blame game and promising now some electrical or motorbikes that don't need, and even vehicles that don't need engines. They still blame Uhuru Kenyatta, that is the one who played around with our economy. They frustrate Mama Ngina here and there, and they have told Kenyans that the ongoing maandamano is meant to interfere with the businesses. And if people will unmask these lies, it may not be very easy for them in 2027. I don't know, it will take a miracle because people have listened to him, the Mamambongas and the Watu wa Boda Boda. When that time comes, if things don't change, he will have a rough time lying to them again. Number two, this regime continues to ignore the citizens. The best example is the recent one, when he wanted to impose these punitive taxes and then the reduction on the housing finance. And the constitution requires that people must go for public participation. And the main reason why people go for public participation is because democratically a government must govern the people the way they want. That is why it is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. That the people have donated powers to the president, and he only exercises those powers on our behalf. So when people spoke unequivocally and said, we don't want this bill, and in fact that is the reason why we had public participation, he ignored the people and forced the bills, coerced the parliament. So ignoring the people will be the second thing that is going to be very injurious to Ruto's bid to get a second term. You see, when you are a leader and the constitution requires that you listen to your people, you not only listen to them, but you take heed and implement what they tell you. In this sense, William Ruto ignored and bullied his way. And by this, ladies, I can assure you that William Ruto is going to find it very, very difficult. Number three, he even uses violence against the people who go to the street to ask questions. Because the constitution requires that when you are disappointed, you express your displeasure on the streets peacefully without carrying weapons. I take issue with those people who are going on demonstrations to destroy other people's property. I want to condemn, because some of them are goons sponsored by the government. We've seen them being given pangas to go and cause mayhem so that it can be blamed on the opposition side. But when people go to the streets to ask questions, to lament, then William Ruto unleashes goons and terror gang in the name of the police, killing people anyhowly. You don't do that. There are other ways William Ruto can contain the maandamanos. It doesn't need to be bloodshed. If you look at what is happening at the border, he has charged one community against the other. And he's trying to trivialize this maandamano and trying to isolate it to look like it is a Luo affair. If you look at those people, majority who were arrested from Wednesday up to date, Babu Wine is a Luo, Ogeta, Raila's aide, is a Luo, Dennis Onyango, who is a communication specialist in Raila's team, is a Luo, Antonio Lodge is a Luo, and of course a few people like Menanjang. And I said he has arrested many, but many of them are Luos. The people who are now suffering and bearing the brunt of the bullet are Luos. He wants this thing to look like every Kenyan is satisfied with this government except the Luos. But Kenyans have refused, because hunger does not choose. I love Kenyans because they understand that people are on the streets because they are fighting for economic liberation. And so by unleashing violence on people, people will remember this in the days to come. And I'm telling you, William Ruto has lost popularity. Comes 2027, the epicenter of rebellion is going to be the strongholds that voted for them, the central province. I know of a meeting that they had, and he charged the members of parliament, especially in central and all the other places. He gave them money. And you can see that is why he had the opportunity now even to try and quell the tension that was there today. It won't last forever, I can assure you. Because the more he uses bullets, the more he uses this lies and blame game, things will get worse. If the courts do not stop the punitive taxes, the Okiya Mutata case, then life is going to be very unbearable. They have started talking about the bumper harvest and the maize. Life, or the cost of living, is not just about unga alone, because that is what now they are talking about. Things are not going to be very easy. The last one is chest thumping. I can assure you that the more William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua continues chest thumping, then people look at him. When you want to deal with your competitor, you want to deal with your enemy, you don't chest thump. You know, this is not the first time that an election has been rigged. In 2007 it happened, in 2013 and 2017. But the difference between William Ruto and his predecessors is that he is chest thumping, while the others, after stealing elections, decided that they wanted to embrace unity. The more he continues chest thumping, he is charging the opposition, because one thing that Raila does not want is Ruto trying to chest thump, telling him that he's going to Bondo. This makes them regroup with a resolve that they want to show him that they have the people. And this kind of onslaught on the on Kenyatta family, on trying to take Jubilee, trying to frustrate Mama Ngina, there are people who are not very happy with it. You know, I remember Nguni Mutahi was telling William Ruto that you can always fight as men. If you have an altercation or a difference between you and Uhuru Kenyatta, do not drag in the name of his mother in it. With that, you are attracting, without knowing, the sympathy of the mothers. And you show that you are disrespectful. You are also a president, and very soon you'll become a former president. And with all this, ladies and gentlemen, if William Ruto wins an election, it will be a miracle. But one thing I know, with the judiciary still remaining the same, the Supreme Court, those 7 members of the judges, and with the IEBC, as I see, he's trying to get his people, then rigging will be the order of the day. And I can assure you, without a shadow of doubt, that the only way William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, the only way this administration can retain power is by rigging. And it is going to happen the way it happened in 2007. And maybe if Azimio decide to get disorganized, which I don't think they can do. And so I agree with the Kuru Accord that William Ruto is working so hard to become a one-term president. Just like he broke history, he might just break another history to become a one-term president. I don't know what you think.